Good day, everyone. I'm Ethan, moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, Developing a World-Class Safety Culture. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, Joe Keenan. Joe Keenan is a highly experienced environmental health and safety and human resource professional and management consultant with over 25 years of experience. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Joe.
All right. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're logging in. Greatly appreciate your participating. Got a very important and very timely topic to cover. Got a lot of material to cover, so we'll go through the presentation. I appreciate the moderator's introduction. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about developing a world-class safety culture. And this is going to be applicable to any industry you're in, whether you're a manufacturing industry, whether you're a construction industry, office setting, maybe a combination thereof. All these tools and all these tips will be very applicable to what you do or what you can do, and you'll have some key takeaways that you can immediately take and implement at your respective organization. So let's start off by defining what a safety culture is. Culture is the beliefs, customs, arts, etc. of a particular society, group, place, or time. So why is it important to have a safety culture? Well, if you take any one of these statistics, they're very sobering. When we talk about indirect costs, we're talking about things like impacts to employee morale. All right, so looking at phases of safety, this is a good baseline, and this comes from Intel Corporation. What are some ways your organization fit into this model, and what are some ways you can do to immediately improve? And then I highly recommend having your safety committee do this, and then having your leadership team do this. All right, so a great example of a world-class safety culture is from OSHA itself. It's called the OSHA Voluntary Protection Program, or VPP for short. VPP is a great tool. It's been around since 1972, and it's a great way to really engage all employees at all levels to get to a world-class safety culture. The tools are here, and I highly recommend you take these tools. There's 5 key elements to the voluntary protection program. What OSHA breaks it down into is management and leadership commitment, employee involvement, worksite analysis, hazard prevention and control, and safety and health training. Now, this is a little bit of a busy slide, but as you can see, there's 5 key elements. 4 that management commitment and employee involvement are now grouped together. So as I touched on, management commitment and employee involvement really go together. You can't have one be effective without the other. You can have the most motivated employees, and employee involvement is the heartbeat. It really drives health and safety to all levels of the organization. So worksite analysis involves a variety of worksite examinations to identify not only existing hazards, and switching to hazard prevention and control, it's triggered by a determination that a hazard or potential hazard exists. And it's important that it be done in a timely manner. So last but not least is safety and health training. So it's important that it addresses the responsibilities of everyone. The training has to address the particular nature and scope of the hazards. But what are some benchmarks of a world-class safety culture? So a total incident rate or total recordable rate, let's talk about what you as a leader in the plant and your supervisors can do. The first thing is always be mindful of the message you are sending. How are you interacting with your employees about safety? Another way to set a right example is by doing things like safety best practice sharing. You want to have your supervisors manage safety by walking around, being visible. Another great example is to create what we call a closed loop work order system. Post all safety work orders in the plant. Other thing you want to do is to create leading metrics versus lagging metrics. If you don't have a safety committee, I highly recommend you get one. Now, the last part of this presentation, I want to really focus in on behavior-based safety because that is a great way to get to a zero injury rate and maintain a zero injury rate. So the first thing is to define what a behavior is. And a behavior is an observable act. So a safe behavior, to expand on a little further, is an act or action that we can see or observe that does not increase the risk of injury, illness, property damage, or process interruption. Now, an at-risk behavior is the opposite. Oftentimes, with behavioral safety, you want to avoid what we call the safety roller coaster. Now, there's certain things that influence behaviors. So the common question is, why not measure attitudes? Behavior influences attitude, and that's why behavioral safety or behavior-based safety. So we have personal factors. There's job factors. So like having inadequate tools or equipment. Again, some general rules about behavioral safety. It's highly recommended that. So each observation should be conducted by a trained observer. Hopefully this presentation is designed to give you some actionable items that you can take back to your organization and implement immediately. Well, thank you so much again. And with that, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of the week and weekend upcoming.
Oh, thanks, Joe. That does conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead.